Alright, so today we're talking about how to field dress small game. I'm using a cottontail rabbit today, but this method works for squirrels, rabbits, pretty much any kind of small game you can think of. Alright, now I'm using simple tools that you can use in the field or in the kitchen. I have a pocket knife. I'm using a multi-tool. This isn't necessary, but it's extremely useful. So if you carry one every day like I do, I highly recommend you use it. Also, since I am in the kitchen and just for ease of use, I do have a kitchen knife with me, and I'll be using that as well. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, now obviously I'm here in the kitchen, but it's negative 10 degrees outside, and I didn't feel like filming this outside. So bear with me, but this method works the exact same way whether you want to do it in the kitchen or if you want to do it outside. I use this method every time I go hunting and I field dress them outside. Alright, so now the first thing you want to do is you want to take your pocket knife and you're going to take the rabbit, hold it up, and you're just going to grab this hide here that's on the back, and just pull it and bunch it up here on the back so it's away from the rest of the meat. Okay? You're going to take your knife, holding with the blade up, you're just going to stick it in and cut up and out. Okay? And that's almost pretty much the last cut you're going to have to make with your knife. Alright? Now you're going to take your hands and holding alongside the cut here, just like this, you're going to take it and you're just going to pull. You're going to pull the hide right in half just like this. Alright? And just pull it just like you're taking a shirt off. Pull it right over the front. Pull these legs through just like this. Okay? The other one, just like that. Alright, now you're going to take your multi-tool, okay? Using the wire cutter part, you're just going to cut the leg right there at that bone, alright? Get your knife, cut that. Go to the second leg here. Once again, take multi-tool, cut that. Just like that, alright? Now, we're going to go ahead, finish pulling the hide the rest of the way off the neck. And once we get it to about here, okay, we're going to take our kitchen knife. You can do the same thing with a pocket knife. I do it all the time in the field using just my pocket knife. Since I'm in the kitchen, I'm going to use this knife just for ease. Alright, take it, set it here, cut the head off, okay, toss that. Now, we're going to finish up the hindquarters. Same as the last time, you're just going to go ahead and pull the leg right through the hide, just like you're taking off its pants. Alright, don't worry if you start tearing the rabbit hide up as you're taking it off. Obviously, we're not saving the rabbit hide. What's important here is we're just getting the hide off so we can get to the meat, alright? So, take it to about there. Take your multi-tool again. Cut that bone. Use your pocket knife. Cut that tendon. Toss it. Alright, go to the other side. Do the same thing again. There's that hide. Like that. Take your multi-tool. Cut the bone. Cut the tendon. Alright, now we're here. We have the tail. All we're going to do is we're going to take it like this. We're going to take our pocket knife and we're just going to cut straight down through that tail, okay? We're going to move the rabbit's genitalia. Just like that, alright? Now we have a fairly clean little carcass here, okay? We're going to take our knife and we're going to make a small poke right up in here, alright? And we're just going to cut right up alongside the middle of the abdomen up to the base of the rib cage, okay? Just like we're skinning out a big game animal, alright? So we're going to take it, and you got to be really careful here so you don't poke a hole in the intestines and contaminate the meat with that matter, alright? So we're just going to cut here. Alright, make sure you take your time here. It's not a race. Just make sure that you don't poke a hole in the guts. Okay? And we're going to cut up to the base of the rib cage. Then we're just going to take it. We're going to go ahead and just grab the guts here and just pull them right out into our trash, or obviously if we're out in the field, just throw them out on the ground. Okay? We're going to take the rib cage here. We're going to spread it. We're going to just reach up into the rib cage, grab that heart and lungs, and just pull them right out like that. I'm going to take those kidneys out. And then we're going to grab it and we're going to pull the rest of that intestine right out through the pelvis. And there we have a field dressed and skinned rabbit. Okay? Now I'm just going to take it here to the sink. Go ahead and rinse it out using cold water. Alright, and there you have it. Here we have a cottontail rabbit that is field dressed, cleaned off, and it's ready to cut up to put in the pot. Alright, so now that we've field dressed and skinned out the rabbits, I'm going to go ahead and talk about how to cut the rabbits up for cooking. Now, there seems to be two schools of thoughts here for how to prepare a rabbit to cook. There's the boneless method, and there's also cutting it up like a chicken where it's got the bones in. I myself prefer the boneless methods because when I cook rabbit, I usually do things like fajitas, rabbit dumplings, stuff like that. That doesn't require the bones in the dish. However, I am going to go ahead and show you both methods so that you can prepare the rabbit however you would like to better suit what you're cooking. Alright, now we're going to be talking about how to cut bone-in small game. Alright, now this method works great for any kind of dish that would require the bone in, similar to like fried chicken. You can do the same exact recipe but with small game, as in, you know, fried rabbit, anything like that. Alright, now the first thing we're going to be using is game shears. These work great for, you can do actually this entire cut with using just these shears. Alright, now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the rabbit and we're going to take the shears. And we're going to go ahead and just cut the rib cage right along the sternum, just like this. Now, you can do all of this with a knife, but I find it safer and just a lot easier to do using game shears, okay? Then, I like to come over here and I'm going to cut the pelvis in half. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it in the pelvis. And cut the pelvis in half just like that, alright? Now from here, I'm going to cut about, if you look through here, halfway through the rib cage. Okay? And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut straight through, cut the spine in half. Just like that. Okay? Now, I'm going to take my game shears and I'm going to cut right through the middle of the spine. Just like this. Okay, those two pieces are done. Okay, now I'm going to take my game shears again and I'm going to cut right along here, just right along the back of the rib cage. And you just take right through the flank here. Once again, we're just cutting right through the spine, just like that, and all the way through. Okay, just going to go there. Okay, now we're going to cut right here, right at the base of where the hindquarters join to the midsection. Alright, and we're just going to cut right through the flank there once again. And we're just going to take our shears and just cut squarely through the spine again. Like that. And there we go. Alright, now our final cut is just going to be right here through splitting the spine that connects the two halves of the hindquarters. And there you have it. That is all there is to cutting a rabbit or a squirrel up for chicken fried rabbit or any kind of other small game dish that you can think of that involves bone-in small game. Alright, to clean it up a little bit, you can go ahead and cut these flank meat off of the pretty much your back straps and tenderloins here. I mean, it cleans it up a little bit. You can do that, or you can just leave it as is. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off just to make it look pretty. It's like this. Do the same thing with this chunk here. And it cleans it up, makes it look a little pretty, but like I said, that's not mandatory. You don't have to do that. It's just something to make it look prettier. And there you go. That is how to cut a rabbit or a squirrel up bone-in. Alright, now this second method we're going to talk about is the boneless method of cutting it up. Now this method is similar to cutting up any kind of big game animal or pretty much any other kind of animals, because realistically, once you get the hide off of an animal, they're pretty much almost all the same. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to cut this up boneless. This is, as I have already mentioned, my favorite method of cutting up small game, because pretty much anything you can cook bone-in, small game wise, you can cut up boneless and do the same dish, and I have found that it has less of a gamey flavor when using the boneless method. I mean, it's cliche, but realistically it does taste a lot like chicken. Alright, now it's pretty easy. I always get started here on the hindquarters, and what I do here is I'm just going to take this muscle group right here. On a big game animal or on a beef cow, that would be your bottom sirloin. Okay. Then I'm going to take my flank off. Just like that. Now for ease of use, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this in 3 pieces. Alright. Now I'm going to go ahead and starting here right behind the, see if you can see that there, right behind this Achilles tendon here, I'm just going to make a cut until I hit the bone, and then I'm just going to follow the bone along the leg until I can pull the entire muscle group off here. Okay. Carve it off around the pelvis here. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece into thirds as well, just for ease of use. You don't have to, especially if you're going to do a dish that usually would call for bone-in. Like, say you're going to do like chicken fried rabbit, just leave that whole. That'll be just fine. I'm actually cutting this up because I'm going to be making rabbit and dumplings. So I'm cutting these smaller so that they will fit in the size that I'm looking for that dish. Okay. Same thing on the other side. This side I'm just going to go ahead and start by taking out this flank here. Once again, I'm cutting it into 3 pieces. Just like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Once again, this would be your bottom sirloin. Excuse me, my bad. That's your sirloin tip. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut that in half just to fit the dish. Come to the back here. Once again, I'm going to cut right behind the Achilles tendon, hit the bone, follow the bone all the way out, carve it off the back end of the pelvis here, cut it into 3 pieces. Okay. Now I'm just going to clean up any scraps of meat I have left here. You can clean up the leg muscle here. And like I said, as far as just boning out a animal, this is actually very similar to just boning out a big game animal. Like I said, the animals, once you get the hide off them, they're all pretty much the same. Alright, now these here are your tenderloins. I'm going to go ahead and cut those out and add that to the meat. That's your rabbit tenderloin right there. Obviously they're not very big on a rabbit, but Definitely a tasty little morsel of meat. Get the other side here. Here's your other one. Alright, now for the next cut, I'm going to go ahead and take the shoulder off, and you can do that by just pulling it away from the rib cage and just cutting. Just like that, comes off. Similar to a big game animal. Once again, the cut I'm making is, I'm going to take the rib cage and I'm just going to push the arm away from the rib cage, and I'm just using my knife to cut between the rib cage and the shoulder. Just like that. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my back straps out next. For this, I like to start here, right up alongside the rib cage. And I'm just going to carve following the bone, just like such. Okay, now I'm going to take my knife and I'm following right along the spine on this side, just closely following the spine. And you don't need any special knives for this. I mean, I'm using one of my boning knives I use for cutting up big game animals, but you can use just a pocket knife or any old kitchen knife. A paring knife works rather well. Alright, and there you have it. There's your back strap, rabbit back strap. Okay, and I am just going to cut this into chunks, toss that in with the rest of the meat. Okay, now this would be your sirloin, your actual sirloin on a big game animal or a beef, and I'm just going to go ahead and carve that off and add that to the mix. Okay, flip it over, do the same thing on this side. Once again, I'm just going to start here at the rib cage, following the ribs till it hits the spine. Same as before, just come over here, hit the spine, follow it all the way to the rib cage, and just follow it out. Alright, and there's your other back strap. Alright, once again, I'm going to chunk it up, 3 pieces. Carve out your little sirloin. Alright, now you're pretty much done with this part of the carcass. I mean, you can sit there and spend a lot more time nitpicking at it, but that's pretty much the bulk of the meat. Alright, now for the front quarters, I'm just going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to cut right here at the elbow. Follow the bone out. The bone's going to make a, on this piece here, the bone's going to lie just like this, and then comes out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut here, I'm going to cut out, and then just follow the bone out. Alright? Just like that. Toss that in the meat. I'm going to cut this little chunk of fat off here. Pretty much you always want to take any of the fat off any wild game animal you're going to eat, just because a lot of the really bad flavor comes from the fat and gristle, so never leave the fat on. Alright. Once again, you can sit there and pick at this a whole lot more, but you might get out of an entire rabbit. If you sit there and pick at it, you might get maybe half an ounce more meat off of it. Alright, we'll follow that out. Take my little piece off here. On a big game animal, this would actually make a roast, but as you can see, the rabbit, it's a bite. Take this front part of the shoulder off, just like that. Clean this up just a touch, see if I can get anything else off of it. Alright, and that does it.